Welcome to the 39th anniversary of the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers and Illustrators of the Future. And for our thousands of internet viewers worldwide, we have gathered this evening at the Taglin Complex in Hollywood, California.
Before there can be accomplishment, there must first be vision. The power to see things not merely as they are now, but as they might become. In daring to imagine, we see beyond the mundane to that which delights and inspires, engages and uplifts. With such dreams, we advance social, political, and philosophical thought and drive innovation in art, science, literature, and technology. A culture is only as great as its dreams, and its dreams are dreamed by artists. But mere dreams are not enough. To be useful, vision must be shared widely, so that all may contribute their talents to its realization, be they teachers or builders, organizers or fabricators. Not merely words, but images and models and music that speak to both the mind and the heart and uniquely reach each person. These are the true visionaries. These are the architects of the future. The artist injects the spirit of life into a culture, and through his creative endeavors, the writer works continually to give tomorrow a new form. L. Ron Hubbard understood the power of visionaries to build a tomorrow full of promise and hope, power and accomplishment. Starting early in his career as a renowned storyteller of popular fiction, he worked to not only inspire the next generation of storytellers, but to equip them with the tools of art and craft necessary to succeed. From its earliest beginnings, the inaugural Golden Pen Award provided the means to assist the next generation of creative voices to reach the greatest possible audience. Join us in celebrating both the giants of our past and present and the next generation of visionaries of tomorrow. L. Ron Hubbard presents the Writers and Illustrators of the Future.
Executive Director of Author Services, representing the literary works of L. Ron Hubbard, Ms. Gunhild Jacobs.
Thank you very much, and good evening. Welcome to all of you from all of us at Author Services and Galaxy Press to the 2023 celebration of science fiction and fantasy writing and art. On this magical night, we have with us 21 winners, 20 from Volume 39 and 1 from Volume 38. These are all artists with dreams and aspirations who made their dreams a reality. For this is real. They are right here in this room at this moment. In addition to the awards presentation, we have a few more pieces to whet your appetite for magic. We will release the spell of the fire dragon in the form of Volume 39, let you in on predictions that winners and judges made 25 years ago on today's education. You will hear from our keynote speaker, Mr. Dan Farr, CEO of the FanX Salt Lake Convention. You will see an inspirational video on time from the founder of the contest. And finally, we are honored to bestow the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award to yet another literary legend. As for the judges of the contest, I want to welcome all of you who once again made it out to Hollywood to share your know-how and pay it forward to the next generation. Will all of our venerable judges who are here with us tonight please stand to be acknowledged? Over the years, I have welcomed many new wonderful judges. This year, we salute a new Illustrators of the Future judge, Brian C. Hales. A 2002 Illustrators of the Future winner, Brian has gone on to a very successful award-winning career as an illustrator and writer with over 50 titles in print. In the true spirit of the contest, Brian has returned to pay it forward. Welcome, Brian. Sadly, we say goodbye to Writers of the Future judge Eric Flint. He was a first-place winner of the Writers of the Future contest in 1993 and was published in Volume 9. Eric went on to a very successful career writing alternate history, science fiction, and fantasy novels, most notably his 1632 series. In total, he wrote 6 New York Times best-selling novels. Then, in 2010, Eric became a Writers of the Future judge and remained a staunch supporter, continuing to pass the torch to new talent year after year. He was also one of the founders of Superstars writing seminars. We will miss him and his pragmatic, dry sense of humor, but his legacy will live on, and he will forever remain part of the Writers of the Future family. In the past, we have presented an extensive overview of the yearly accomplishments from our winners and judges. However, we have simply grown too big to cover everything here. So, for the full overview, make sure to read the article, The Year in the Contest, in Volume 39. And as for tonight, I will give you just a few highlights. First, for the contest. There were more entries this last year than any in history. And with that kind of growth, we are now bringing on 3 more first readers. Then there's the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast, which continues to grow, garnering up to 2 million listens per episode. And finally, Digital Publishing awarded the contest the Gold E Medal winner for anthologies in their ELIT awards. As for our past winners, Samantha Murray of Volume 31 took home Australia's Aurelianis Award for Best Science Fiction Novella entitled Preserved in Amber. Volume 37 illustrator winner Jennifer Bruce won a number of awards, including the Cheltenham Illustration Award and the beautiful Bizarre Magazine's Digital Art Award first prize. Then, spearheaded by Storm Hubbard, a team of past Writers of the Future winners created their own publishing company, Calendar of Fools. Their first project is the anthology of short stories by past winners called Inner Workings. And so, in true style, they are carrying on in the spirit of the Writers of the Future contest. As for our judges, Writers of the Future judge Kevin J. Anderson released Gods and Dragons from his epic fantasy Wake the Dragon series. Illustrators of the Future winner turned judge Sean Tan released his next illustrated book, Creature, with 224 pages of previously unpublished paintings and drawings. Illustrators of the Future judge Bea Jackson has had a busy year with a Christmas book, a civil rights children's book, a little gold book, 2 new books for Disney, and for Marvel, Here Today, Gone Tomorrow. So there you have it, just a few of the highlights from our contest winners and judges in the past 12 months. But if that's the 12-month view, then I would now like to take you back in time. 25 years ago, we posed the question to the Writers of the Future winners and judges, including Kevin J. Anderson, Tim Powers, Dr. Yodi Kondo, Frank Kelly Fries, Val Lakey Lindan, Dr. Jerry Purnell, Jack Williamson, and yes, Algis Budries. The question was, with the continuing rapid development and vast expansion of computer technology, how do you think the fundamentals of education will be taught to our children by the year 2023? And the predictions were then all sealed in a time capsule. Today, we live in the future we predicted 25 years ago. So let's see how well we did. Will Writers of the Future judges Kevin J. Anderson and Tim Powers please join me on stage to open the time capsule?
This is the unrehearsed part of the. Well, that part worked. Why does it have a radiation sign on it?
At this point, I pull the pin.
You're supposed to pull the pin.
Cut it again.
Oh,
there.
Got it. So hold it, and I'll turn this the 11. Oh, it's turning.
Should it be ticking?
It's turning. Oh boy. I hope I didn't say something stupid.
Well, just read it differently.
They'll never know. I could just make it up now, right?
Predict COVID.
There. Haha. Okay. Take out the magic papers. Ooh. And Gunhild's going to read them all in a minute.
And there's some M&Ms.
And a puppy. Okay.
Here's one.
Here's one. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You just read the question. So, voice recognition and transcription programs will have made literacy, all of spelling, and most of grammar obsolete. Math competent people will assume control, morality will be discarded as archaic, and the common people will be bred for food. Wasn't that a great steak tonight? And this prediction was made for you by Mr. Tim Powers.
I may have been a little ahead of the curve.
Okay, here's your prediction.
All right. Much as before, badly. Which actually, I think he did really well. That was from Frank Kelly Freeze. And that's a valuable little document.
All right. I anticipate every aspect of education will be touched by electronic communication, starting with preschool and continuing through all higher education. And with this expansion, all students have access to other cultures, technologies, and opportunities to make the world a close-knit society. Pretty dead on. We're working on that close-knit society. This is from Rob Hassan. He is an artist. He was an Illustrators of the Future winner, and he has gone on to a very successful career. So there you go. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Tim.
You can keep that.
You can keep it. All the predictions will be put on display in the front lobby after the event. They will also be made available for viewing on our website, and you will be duly entertained. And now to release L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 39, please welcome the President Galaxy Press, Mr. John Goodwin.
Thank you. Here we are with a new year of great stories and illustrations from around the world. And what proves to be yet another milestone for writers of the future is that in one volume, we have winners from 9 countries: Canada, China, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Romania, South Korea, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Vietnam. Winners who have now entered the volatile publishing stage. Regardless of how you perceive the ever-evolving future of publishing, one thing is a rock-solid certainty. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future is a guarantee that the future of science fiction and fantasy is in good hands. And I have before me a room full of writers and artists to prove it. Yes. It is now my honor and privilege to officially release L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 39, and here it is. The cover art, Wyvern Crucible, was created by Illustrators of the Future contest judge Tom Wood. And Rise of the Future judge Kevin J. Anderson wrote a humorous fantasy detective zombie PI story, Fire in the Hole, based on Tom's cover art. In addition to Fire in the Hole, we've included 2 more bonus stories. Constant Never by S.M. Sterling, in the back there. a story that uses an ancient fantasy trope with knights, captive princesses, and dragons, only this time with real people and a real setting. And The Unwilling Hero, an installment from contest founder L. Ron Hubbard's Conquest of Space series, which Dr. Jerry Purnell described as artists and dreamers who went out and got the job done when no one was paying attention. The volume contains all the prize-winning stories with illustrations in a stunning full-color art gallery up front. The stories range from urban fantasy to magical realism, and from military sci-fi to time travel. They provide plenty for any reader of science fiction and fantasy. While the aspiring writer or artist can read the book to see what the judges are looking for and what it takes to win, you will also receive hard-won advice from established pros in the form of educational essays on the craft and business of writing and illustration. What is art direction? Vital know-how on working with art directors based on years of experience from Illustrator contest judge Lazarus Chernick. Prioritize to increase your writing, providing some suggestions on how to balance one's life to increase production by contest judge Christine Catherine Rush. And Circulate by L. Ron Hubbard, where he teaches the method of generating story ideas still successfully used today in the Writers of the Future workshop. He wrote it at the age of 24 after publishing his first stories in genres ranging from mystery to sea, air, and military adventure. But this is not all. For the first time in 39 years, Galaxy Press will also publish the annual anthology as an audiobook. A family of talented narrators, actors, and impressionists, Jim, Tamara, and Taylor Meskimen, recorded the stories. Volume 39 book and audiobook released May 16th in stores throughout the United States and Canada, where it is available to pre-order now. In Australia, the UK, and South Africa, and online in New Zealand and throughout Asia, Europe, Central, and South America, it releases on the 18th of July. And for those in attendance, don't worry, you'll be able to get your printed copies tonight, so you can get them signed by the writers and illustrators. To sum it up, discover the newest and most exciting voices of science fiction and fantasy as chosen by your favorite authors. The future is in your hands. And to quote L. Ron Hubbard from the very first volume of Writers of the Future, published 39 years ago, I'm very proud to present the winners. Good luck to all other writers of the future, and good reading. Thank you very much.
And now, onto the awards. Each quarter, entrants from around the world submit their stories and illustrations to the contest, where the coordinating judges select honorable mentions, silver honorable mentions, semi-finalists, and finalists. Our blue ribbon panel of judges then narrows them down to the winners, 3 writers and 3 illustrators. Since it is a quarterly contest, the process repeats every 3 months. At the end of the year, a second phase of the Illustrator contest begins. We commission each of the 12 artists to illustrate a winning story with a 30-day deadline. This is done under the art direction of contest coordinating judge Echo Chernick. These are the 12 illustrations that are judged for the grand prize and published alongside the winning stories in the annual anthology. And with the writer contest, only the quarterly first place winners compete for the grand prize. While all the winners get prestigious awards, Only one writer and one illustrator will receive the L. Ron Hubbard Golden Pen and Golden Brush Awards, an achievement that often changes the course of their lives. And now, to present our first awardee, please welcome the Writers of the Future Coordinating Judge, Jody Lynn Nye.
Good evening, everybody. Brittany Rainston of Snake River, Idaho is a winner from Volume 38 that missed last year's event while expanding her family. She wrote the story The Last Dying Season, where a botanist must cure a dying planet before an evacuation when she will be forced to leave her young daughter behind. Please welcome her to the stage.
Wow, it's wonderful to be here today. I have a lot of people to thank. First, I would like to thank Mr. Hubbard and Galaxy Press. I'd also like to thank our judges, especially Jody and Tim, who are so kind to us this week, so generous with their time. I have learned so much. I would like to thank my illustrator, Jerome, for a beautiful illustration that I am proud to display on my writing shelf. I would like to thank my writing communities, Ink Stains, Cleverly, the Writers of the Future Forums, and the Wolf Pack. I have a special thank you to send to Becky, Chris, and Candace for helping me keep the faith. And I also have a very special thank you for Mr. Wolf Moon for mentoring, encouraging me, and believing in me, especially when I had a hard time believing in myself. I want to thank my brothers. I want to thank my parents and in-laws who have helped with all things family so that I can actually be here tonight. I want to thank my 5 kids. I love when they beg me to read the next part of my stories. I love that. Okay. So they inspire me. They help me to be a better writer and a better person. And I want them to know that of all the stories I've ever had a hand in creating, my favorite is theirs. Last, I would like to thank my husband, who has encouraged and supported me while I fought for this goal. He'd wrangle kids, he'd listen to my story ideas, and he would always encourage me and help me to chase after this dream. And I'm so thankful that today I get to live it.
Please welcome Writers of the Future judge and author of the Volume 939 cover story, Kevin J. Anderson, with Volume 39 cover artist and Illustrators of the Future judge, Tom Wood.
Deja vu, I think I was just here. Nice cover art, by the way, Tom. It inspired a great story.
I love you, man. I love you too.
Serious, folks. Devin Boehm from Connecticut wrote the first place winning story, Kitsune, that asks the question, a miracle, an omen, or something else? One day they arrived in droves, the foxes of the desert, the field, the imagination.
Nice twist on a Dan Shamble story, by the way, Kevin. I love how you work the artwork into the tale. Now you'll have to read the book to find out.
Yep.
The illustrator of this story, Alea Knowlton, also known as Drazzini, is from California. She is currently studying at the University of California School of Cinematic Arts. Please join us in congratulating them both.
That's heavier than it looks, and it looks heavy. So it's a genuine honor to be standing up here today in this room filled with such extraordinary talent. But I wouldn't be here without so many people. First off, we all have L. Ron Hubbard to thank, of course, for his generous foresight. What a gift to establish this opportunity for all up-and-coming writers and illustrators. And with that, thanks to the amazing people at Writers of the Future and Galaxy Press, from organizers and marketing to slushers and the judges who have spent so much of their time and expertise on us this week. It's incredible. And also John Goodwin. I can't thank my incredible illustrator, Alea Knowlton, enough. It is every writer's dream to know that their words went into someone's head and then came out so incredibly beautifully, and that illustration's killer. A big thanks to my Smith and Fairfield writing families who helped get me to this point where I could meet my new writing family here. Writers of Volume 39, I am so honored to be among you. And perhaps most importantly, thank you to my family, whether my chosen family or my blood-related one. My father died when I was a child, and it was reading fantasy that offered me an escape from my grief and new purpose in my life. My mother saw that, and she always encouraged my creative side, even when it probably would have been better to tell me to be a lawyer. I put it down for years and years, and then when I picked fantasy back up, it gave me another gift in my husband and our shared love of the genre. And now his family, and now the family we're creating together, not just our dog, Harry Dresden Potter. It's the only room I can tell this joke in. But our first child, my son Charlie, who was born about 5 months ago. They are my heart, and my heart is where I write from. So thank you for everything here tonight, and thanks to them.
Hello. I also want to thank everyone who's helped me on my journey. I want to thank my parents who have always been there for me and willing to support me on my artistic journey and willing to be behind me in pursuing an education in art and a career in it as well. I want to thank all my friends who've been with me on the way and done art by my side. I want to thank my writer for writing the story that inspired me to make the piece and really giving me such an amazing tale to work with such character and mystery. I want to thank Galaxy Press and Hubbard, of course, for making this entire event possible. And I also want to thank Echo, my art director, for helping me along the way with my art, and also all of the amazing artists who during this week have given me wisdom and, really just helped me along my journey and have taught me so much in just this short amount of time. Thank you so much.
Please welcome Writers of the Future judge and co-editor for Volume 39, Dean Wesley Smith, and Illustrators of the Future judge, Larry Elmore.
Marianne Zenos is the first place winner from Massachusetts. Her story, Moonlight and Funk, brings together a vampire, a dragon, and a shape-shifting chihuahua who meet on a beach in Key West. A dragon, a vampire, and a shape-shifting chihuahua. Not kidding, but it's Florida. That explains it.
The illustrator of this story is April Solomon from Laguna Beach, California. She has a passion for dragons and whimsical fantasy. Marie could not be with us tonight. Marianne will not be with us tonight, could not, but she sent a video message, and here it is.
Hello, everybody. I'm thanking you from the quiet of Massachusetts, with only my cat as an audience. I'm sorry not to be with you in California, but I'm imagining all the wonderful, kind, and encouraging people I've met from Writers of the Future and from my writing community, and I'm thanking you. I feel deeply grateful for this journey and even for the bumps in the road that caused me to change direction in life. I'm delighted to be sharing this celebration with you. Thank you to everybody at Galaxy Press and Writers of the Future for continuing the generous legacy of L. Ron Hubbard. Joni, John, Carmen, and Maliva, and more, thanks for the work you do. Thank you especially to Nina Kariki Hoffman, my writing mentor and friend. Nina's talent and wild creativity inspired me to follow my own narratives and, more importantly, to write them down and send them out. She encouraged me to enter the contest quarterly, and I garnered 2 honorable mentions, a finalist award, and finally this win. Feedback is important for a writer, and both the wins and disappointments have made me certain that I want to pursue this craft to my best ability. My daughter Naomi and her little dog Honey also deserve credit for my story, Moonlight and Funk. Naomi has been my greatest support over the past few years and during a difficult illness. During an especially hard time, I wrote a story to cheer her up. The main character was a Chihuahua, a chihuahua who becomes a dragon at the rising of the moon. That creature eventually became the were-dragon Glory, and Naomi was the first person to read the completed story. Thank you to the editors, Jody Lynn Nye and Dean Wesley Smith, and the other Volume 39 winners, and a huge enthusiastic wow to April Solomon, who is illustrating my story. She's brilliant. Seriously, go out and check her out, her website. I feel very lucky. Thank you all very much. And thank you, L. Ron Hubbard and Writers of the Future. And have fun.
And now, please welcome April to the stage.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to start crying. I was not going to memorize this. First of all, I'd like to sincerely thank L. Ron Hubbard for ensuring that future writers and illustrators would be granted the opportunity to flourish and evolve their careers. Congratulations to all my fellow winners and to the judges. You have my sincere gratitude for helping us become better professionals in our career. And thank you to Echo Chernick for being the best art director I could possibly hope for. Thank you to everyone at Galaxy Press for pouring their time and energy into this contest all year round. And especially to John Goodwin, thank you so much for everything that you do. To my author, Miriam, who could not be here, her story inspired me to paint something beautiful. And for that, I thank the writers that can create amazing ideas for us illustrators to make something amazing. To my family and friends, thank you for always supporting me and my wild artistic career ideas, no matter how wild they seemed. To my amazing boyfriend, David De Silva, my beloved boyfriend, your love and support has carried me through the tides like the wind in my sails. And last but not least, to my everlasting source of inspiration, my hero, Larry Elmore. For without you and your dragons, I would not be standing here today. Thank you.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Tim Powers and Illustrators of the Future Judge Rob Fryer.
All right. Writer winner David Hankins currently resides in Iowa. His clever story, Death and the Taxman, tells how the Grim Reaper, trapped in an IRS agent's dying body, that old gag, right? Must regain his powers before he dies and faces judgment.
That's pretty good. The illustrator of this story is Sarah Morrison, originally from Canada, now living in Boston. In your final moments, Tom, can you imagine coming face to face with the Grim Reaper, but as an IRS agent?
Actually, you did great work.
Well, it's true. I can't. Please welcome them both to the stage.
It all started with a story. Well, lots of stories. But before I get into that, I have a lot of amazing people to thank. First, to Mr. Hubbard for setting up this contest in such a way that here, 39 years later, my fellow writers and illustrators of the future can stand on this stage. To all of the judges and the staff at Galaxy Press and that worked the contest, your pay it forward attitude is what makes this contest so amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And speaking of paying it forward, a huge howling to Wolf Moon and the Wolfpack writers. I would not be here without Wolf Moon. And to the Wolfpack writers, thank you for all that you do every day, encouraging each other to grow and learn how to write. I've never seen a more dedicated group of rogues and writers in my life. Thank you so much to Sarah for the illustration you did. You captured Frank perfectly. Thank you. And most importantly, I want to say thank you to my wife, Michelle, and my daughter, Beatrix. You are my inspiration. Michelle, thank you for reading so many absolutely horrible first, second, 10th drafts. Your patience is incredible. I love you with all my heart. And for Beatrix, well, the best way to say thank you is with a story. My writing journey began in the oral tradition of trying to convince my daughter to go to sleep with inventive stories. I borrowed from the classics a bit, tossed out the protagonists, and put in my daughter, Beatrix the Brave, who then went and fought dragons and witches and whatever. So clearly, my plan to get her to go to sleep failed miserably. After years of just one more story, I had to start writing my stories down because she was finding errors, and children are ruthless in errors in their fairy tales. So I started writing, and I never stopped. And then one day, I penned a silly little story called Death and the Taxman, and it won me this gorgeous award. And it all started with a story. Thank you.
Feel very honored to be here. Thank you, first of all, to L. Ron Hubbard and his living legacy of paying it forward, which is a lot of what this is about. Thank you to everyone at Galaxy Press and Author Services, everyone who worked so hard to put this whole contest, this whole event together, which takes so much work. And they provide us with a wellspring of confidence and support and generosity, especially Joni Maliva for me. Thank you to all of the judges, Echo, Bob, Dan, Tom, Lee, Larry. It's all fantastic. Everyone who's here for us and helping us grow together. Thank you, David, for writing such an engaging character to bring to life. Keep writing more. To all of my teachers and mentors over the years, especially Mark Scheff and Jason Pollins. Thank you to my parents for always making sure I had art supplies and encouragement. I feel very privileged to have an amazing support network of friends and family, especially Steve, who's here with me tonight, my best friend Carolyn also, but really there's too many to name, so thank you to all of you. And of course, thank you to my husband, Steven. He couldn't be here tonight because he's home taking care of our toddler back in Boston. Thank you for all of your love and support. Thank you for the look of glee and wonder on your face every time you come home and you see a new layer of paint on my canvas.
Our keynote speaker is not new to world building. In the year 2000, he created DAS 3D, a software company specializing in providing rigged 3D human models and animation. This company now boasts a library of over 5 million assets. He wrote and published a 3D illustrated book called Mr. Finnegan's Giving Chest, featuring Dick Van Dyke. In 2013, he co-founded FanX Salt Lake, one of the largest pop culture conventions in the country, where over 100,000 fans, authors, artists, readers, celebrities, comic enthusiasts, and cosplayers gather annually. And since catching the pop culture bug, he acquired another 3 major conventions. Please give a warm Writers of the Future welcome to our keynote speaker, Mr. Dan Farr.
Wow. Thank you very much. It is indeed my honor to be speaking to you tonight about something that is near and dear to me, pop culture and pop culture conventions. Pop culture generally refers to traditions and material culture of a particular society. In ours, it refers to cultural products such as fashion, dance, film, music, art, literature, television, and radio that are consumed by the majority of society's population. It has mass accessibility. It has appeal. Simply put, it's what a lot of people like. I guess I'm in the category of a lot of people. I like pop culture, and I love pop culture conventions. Before I get to the point of how you, as artists and writers, and me as the owner of four large pop culture conventions, work in a symbiotic relationship, let me give you a short history of how pop culture conventions came to be what they are today. The modern concept of a fan convention dates back to the late 1930s with various gatherings of a few dozen science fiction fans in Philadelphia and New York. Hardcore science fiction readers met at these underground affairs. Fanatics, fans, bloomed. Fanzines were created and distributed by those fans, and fandom as a community was here to stay. 1939 saw the first World Science Fiction Convention, now known as Worldcon. A whopping 200 guests attended. So, subsequent years saw hundreds of local and regional conventions spring up celebrating science fiction and related genres, such as Boscone in Boston, Disclave in Washington, Lunacon in New York. The golden age of science fiction authors attended these events as celebrities, guests, and keynote speakers. Masters of the genre such as Arthur C. Clarke, Sprague de Camp at the 14th World Science Fiction Convention, both with the young and energetic Harlan Ellison. The 11th PhilCon with Isaac Asimov as Toastmaster in a setting looking a little like this one here. In the 1960s, fan culture started to explode when mainstream TV series and movies came onto the convention scene, such as Star Trek, The Twilight Zone, Lost in Space, The Day the Earth Stood Still, and Forbidden Planet. Godzilla and giant monsters captured the attention of a culture now discovering the threat of nuclear power. But it was Stan Lee and Jack Kirby saving the dying Marvel Comics from bankruptcy in 1961, and the shift from just science fiction, fantasy, and horror literature to focusing on comic books at the 1965 Lucca Comic Convention that put conventions on a new track, comic books. And with the film industry popularizing characters such as Batman, Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Green Lantern, and about a dozen other superheroes, the convention landscape exploded by leaps and bounds through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. By the early 2000s, upwards of 300,000 people would flock to what had truly turned into pop culture conventions, embracing far more than the original buying and selling of comics. In addition to leafing through comic books, many fans think it is much fun to run around in tights and a cape, hobnobbing with zombies and Princess Leia lookalikes. As for me, I was a vendor at such conventions. And even though I knew the events evoked powerful emotions for attendees, I originally viewed them similar to an annual auto show or bridal show. Boy, did I underestimate the power these events really are. As it were, I became a fan of the fans, vicariously living fan experiences when they meet comic creators, actors, musicians, illustrators, writers, and so on. I caught the powerful pop culture bug, power that keeps people from latching on to the vices of planet Earth, power that makes them nonconformists in a good way, power that gives them individuality, choice, and freedom of expression. Freedom? Freedom to dress up as a Mandalorian or a Na'vi for a weekend and be considered normal. So why not bring a pop culture convention and a sense of community to my own state and my people? After all, Utah is known as the state of the beehive, symbolizing the entire swarm working together to create a successful industry. And now, and although I didn't know this at the time, Utah is the state with the most writers and illustrators of the future entrants and winners per capita of any state in the country or in the world. It has also been named the nerdiest state in the nation. That's true, and here to prove it. So, yeah. In other words, it should work, and it did. 10 years ago, I planned the first Salt Lake FanX. I projected about 10 to 15,000 attendees and started out at a smaller community convention center. We ended up with 70,000 people and ultimately had to move the event downtown to a larger convention center to accommodate the huge crowds. And even then, we had lines that wrapped around the building with many people waiting 2 hours to get in. Rob Pryor was a guest at our first show, and he can attest to how busy it was. So with that, I learned the power of these conventions. People are drawn together to passionately celebrate their love of fantasy, science fiction, anime, gaming, horror, and everything else pop culture. I never could have imagined the numerous stories I would hear about how convention goers have felt a giant sense of belonging, powerfully forged friendships and even marriages, fans and cosplayers forming groups who meet regularly to do charity service work throughout the year and prepare for the next event. Also, families coming together, as in the case of my friend John and his daughter Bryn, who attended every year. He wrote me an email after one of our conventions about he and his daughter's experience, and I quote, my daughter is normally a reserved and self-proclaimed socially awkward person, mostly at home when not at school. FanX for her is a giant and safe bubble filled with like-minded souls that she feels no hesitation to connect with. While driving home from a recent convention, she said, I am glad we do this. If a friend ever asked if I wanted to go to FanX, I would say, sure, as long as you want to go with me and my dad. It's our thing. That melted my heart. And that melted my heart too. So. I want to add that my friendship with Galaxy Press and Writers of the Future was also forged at FanX. And when I found out about the contest and their purpose, it all came together for me. We are on the same page, helping people find and pursue their dreams, let their imagination loose, and live a life of creativity. As for L. Ron Hubbard, he knew that artists and all things creative is the glue that keeps the cultural fabric together. And the truth is, the origin of the world that I manage and thrive in is the writer and the artist. That's it. Music, art, literature, television, radio, none of it would exist without the writers or the artists creating that script, that picture, that song, that universe. It isn't the beautiful Salt Palace where we hold our events that attract the fans. It isn't even the amazing team and volunteers who work tirelessly to produce and put on the events that brings everyone together. It is the amazing stories and works of art that have been created and that you will continue to create that are the catalysts for bringing this world together to experience and celebrate. Fandom energy is one of the more inclusive and bonding agents in a world where we are constantly being bombarded with divisiveness. Writing and art has always been and always will be a healing influence. Our world to me seems more divided than ever before, and your creativity and imagination are the foundation that can bring people together unlike anything else that I know. As writers and artists, you carry a large responsibility for the future because it is you who carry that powerful torch to unite while others are trying to divide. Do not ever give up on your dreams. As L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of the contest, stated, "The greatest joy there is in life is creating. Splurge on it." Writers and illustrators, congratulations on your accomplishments, and please keep creating. Thank you.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Rebecca Mesta and Illustrators of the Future Judge Brittany Jackson.
Writer winner Jason Palmetier from Pennsylvania won with his story Under My Cypresses, where in a metaverse future, a woman who exposes falseness in others must decide what is real to her, the love she lost or the love she may have found.
The illustrator of the story is Helen Yi from South Korea. She is currently studying at Ringling College of Art and Design, where she is working towards her dreams of being a visual development artist. Please congratulate them both.
Hello, and thank you. First, I'd like to thank L. Ron Hubbard, of course, for the vision that he had for setting up this contest, and all the people, the Writers of Future Illustrator and contest. I want to thank the staff and the judges for setting up this event. The stuff that goes on behind the scenes is really amazing, and they do a great job of handling everything. I'd also like to thank Helen for the amazing art that she did. She really brought my story to life. I also like to thank Dennis, Zach, Wei Chung, and Aiden, who are my guests for tonight. Thank you very much for being here and sharing this special occasion with me. I also need to thank my writing group. Shane, Kevin, Rob, Catherine, Jason, Nathan, Beth, and Rebecca. Over the years, all of your comments and all of your help on my stories is what brought me here. And I know for a fact that the story that I submitted would not have won if it hadn't been for your comments. So thank you very much. I also need to thank my mom, because she really encouraged me and my brothers to read in any genre that we wanted. And I have to thank my older brother, Josh. And Josh blazed the trail in the writing of fantasy for our family, and he let me follow behind with him. I also have to thank my younger brother, Jacob, for the countless hours of game playing in the basement, which helped my, yes, all games in the basement that helped my imagination and got to where it is today. And of course, my wife, Janet. I need to thank Janet because she supported me both emotionally and financially for all these years that I've been writing. And I love you, honey. I don't say that a whole lot, but I do. And also my kids, Philip, Lewis, and Aaron. You guys keep me young while like simultaneously prematurely aging me. But without you guys, this award wouldn't really mean anything to me, okay? So you're the best, and I love you. And thank you very much, Writers of the Future.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to give my initial thanks to Mr. L. Ron Hubbard, of course, for founding such an amazing contest for me to enter, because as an international student, we don't have much opportunities to go across the globe and meet other talented people and present ourselves to the rest of the world. So I couldn't have been here without him. And thank you to all the judges. of course, because they are the reason why I could be here in the first place. And I'm very grateful for them having great interest in my work. It's still unreal to me. And thank you to Galaxy Press and Author Services for working so hard behind the scenes to bring this contest to life. And of course, I cannot express enough gratitude to the speakers during the workshop, because all their insights and advices gave me so much inspiration and helped me grow as an artist and as a professional at the same time. And I'd like to thank my author, Jason Palmatier, for writing such an inspiring story for me to illustrate the cover for, because if anything works in that cover, it couldn't have been done without him. And my family and friends, thank you so much for supporting me emotionally and financially to come here and talk to all these people, because I really can't imagine what I would have been without them. I hope I made them proud tonight. And lastly, all the thanks goes to everyone who has participated in this event and appreciate art as much as I do. It was such an astounding experience to be here and stand alongside so many talented artists and writers. This week will be unforgettable to me. Thank you very much.
And now, please welcome Writers of the Future judge, Dr. Robert J. Sawyer, and actress Georgina Riley.
David K. Henriksen is a first-place winner from Virginia. About his story, White Elephant, Dave says, I found the idea of an intelligent migratory species to be an intriguing one. This is a story of what happens when such a race decides to pay humanity an unexpected visit en masse.
The illustrator for this story is Kristen Hadaway from Baltimore, Maryland. She combines her traditional painting skills with digital drawing to create a unique style. Please welcome them to the stage.
I think I'm going to have to rewrite this. First of all, I would like to thank my wife, Abby, for her love and support over the many years. She has been my first reader, my sounding board, copy editor, proofreader, head cheerleader, chief commiserator, and best friend. I wouldn't be here without her. I would also like to thank the rest of my family, my sisters Dale and Jan, who for some reason have always had faith in me, and our parents, Ken and Emma, who are no longer with us, but who showed us how to love with all our hearts. We were truly blessed. Then there are the writers, without whom there would have been no workshop. These immensely successful individuals have stepped away from their busy lives, sometimes for many weeks, to share their wisdom, craft, and experience with us. Hopefully, one day we will be able to pay this forward. I know I speak for all the winners of the contest when I say, thanks guys, it's been a real trip. And finally, of course, I would like to thank L. Ron Hubbard for making this contest possible, as well as the people at Galaxy Press and Author Services for making it happen year after year. Their kindness, consideration, and dedication has been extraordinary. They go above and beyond to make this the best experience possible for each new group of hopeful writers. Your efforts are truly appreciated. And finally, I would like to thank Kristen for her wonderful illustration of my story. Thank you very much.
Wow. Well, good evening. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you to Author Services and Galaxy Press and all the judges for everything you've done for this contest. Thank you to my family and friends back home in Maryland, and especially to my sister Emily for coming all the way here with me today. And lastly, I would like to thank my husband, Nick, for always being my biggest supporter and my #1 fan. Thank you so much.
To present the next award, please welcome Writers of the Future judge, Dr. Nnedi Okorafor, and actor Jim Meskimen, who is also a narrator for the Writers of the Future Volume 39 audiobook.
J.R. Johnson, living in Ottawa, Canada, wrote Piracy for Beginners, where, in a spaceship at the wrong end of a pirate's guns, a former war hero must face down her enemies and demons to save Earth's last chance for peace.
As an impressionist, I have so many voices at my disposal. People say, is it hard to pick one? Pick hard? Picard.
The illustrator of this story is Chris Binns from England. He originally studied engineering, but went back to school to get a degree in illustration and follow his passions. We are glad he did. Please congratulate them both.
Thank you so much for being here tonight and for giving me this award, which is amazing. So it's really an honor to receive this award. And I'd like to start off, of course, by thanking L. Ron Hubbard. And it's it's one of those things where you think, how could someone have done this? How could they have thought that it was important enough to establish a contest like this? And now here we are, 39 years later. And we have this incredible contest, this incredible night. We have all these incredible people doing great work for us. And I would like to thank everyone at Galaxy Press, everyone at Author Services, in particular Joni, Maliva. We've seen a lot of them. I know there are a lot of people working behind the scenes, but we see them most of all. And I really just want to thank them for all the time and the effort that they put into this event. I mean, it's really been astonishing. I'd also like to thank, in particular, the judges and advisors that we have seen all week, especially Jody Lynn Nye and Tim Powers and Rob Sawyer and a lot of the other many experts and advisors that we've had over the week. I mean, the astonishing amount of time and experience that they've given to us has just been really generous, and it means so much to us as upcoming writers and illustrators. So, yes, applause. Speaking of illustrators, I would really just like to thank my illustrator, Chris Binns. He did an astonishing job on my picture. I don't know if it's up, but take a look in the book. It's really amazing. He did a really great job. It really is the most perfect image for the story. And I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, oh, this is just, it's so beautiful to see your words translated through someone's talent in such a way. So thank you. I'd also like to thank my husband who's here with me tonight, which is terrific. His support and encouragement has just really meant the world to me over the years that I've been working on my writing. To my parents who taught me to read and to write and then had to live with the consequences, I really thank you. And I would just like to thank all of you tonight for coming here, for helping to celebrate, and for understanding that, understanding the importance of art in building a better world. I mean, I just really, really appreciate it, and thank you all tonight, and thank you for this. So.
All right. First of all, thank you very much. I'd like to thank the people that make this contest possible. Mr. L. Ron Hubbard, people at Galaxy Press, Author Services. I've seen tirelessly work behind the scenes this weekend, this whole week, and it exhausted me just watching you. You guys did a phenomenal job. You put on a heck of a party. It's just been an honor to be here. To all the judges, you guys are all individually amazing. All your work is just so inspiring. My 5 minutes or 10 minutes I got with each of you was awesome, and I'm going to keep that, put that in my pocket. I'm going to keep that forever. So it was priceless. Jen, my writer, her story is amazing, by the way. You definitely need to read that. Now I want to thank the people that sort of knew about my art. My whole life, I've sort of kept art a little bit secret. It's always been for me, not really for anybody else. I never really shared it, but there's a few people that have known about it the whole time. And so my parents, you guys supported me all the time, even though I can be a pain in the butt. To my wife, Lindsay, you also supported me, and you had a lot of patience, and you encouraged me because I can be a pain in the butt. To my brother, who he always had just the right words to encourage me, where I would send him a new picture. I wouldn't share it with anybody else, but I would send him a frog on a jet ski flying through the clouds. And I'd say, "What do you think?" And he'd go, "That's cool." It wasn't a lot, but it meant a lot, right? So it really inspired me. That's things like that keep me going. And last but not least, my kids, Emmy and Harrison, who are hopefully watching right now and going to go to bed right after this. You are the gasoline to my imagination, and it was smoldering before you came around, and you really threw some gasoline on it and lit it. So everything I do is pretty much for you. So thank you.
For L. Ron Hubbard, encouragement of the arts and care for the novice writer was a continuing and unfailing habit throughout his life. He once wrote, and I quote, "Capturing my own dreams in words, print, or music, and then seeing them live is the highest kind of excitement." And Ron shared his excitement with others. As a young author, he gained acclaim as a headliner in popular magazines of his day, and as an author of full-length novels. He shared his knowledge of and love for the craft through a series of articles and essays for budding authors. These form the basis for the highly esteemed Writers of the Future workshop, as well as the online Writers Workshop. Later, in 1940, during an exploratory voyage, Ron experienced an extended layover in Ketchikan, Alaska. While there, he initiated the Golden Pen Award writing contest, which he judged and awarded prizes at his own expense. This served as a prelude to the establishment of the Writers of the Future contest in 1983, where he was joined by many of the greatest luminaries in the field, including Frank Herbert, Theodore Sturgeon, Andrew Norton, Algis Budrys, Robert Silverberg, and Dr. Gregory Benford. Then, in 1988, a roster of celebrities in the field of art joined to help discover and inspire young artists through the Illustrators of the Future contest. This included such artists as Will Eisner, Bob Eggleton, Frank Kelly Fries, Jack Kirby, Paul Lear, Val Leakey Lindan, and Frank Facetta. These programs were created in an effort to help fulfill human potential, help expand our vision, and help build a better tomorrow. Ron's tips to novice writers would oftentimes go beyond the technical aspects of writing and art, covering such subjects as research, the business of writing, and how to deal with editors. He even covered what the very darkest enemy of creation is. And as for what that might be, hear it from himself in his own voice in this 1954 lecture excerpt.
I remember when I was doing quite a bit of writing when I was very young. Quite a bit of writing. I say quite a bit of writing, a couple 100,000 words a month, something on that order. Everybody used to say to me all the time, what you ought to do is get in a routine. See, you ought to get in a routine. and you ought to work out your schedule. You see, in such a way that you write so many hours, you enjoy so many hours. You do this. Funny part of it was that once upon a time I fell for this. I decided the best time to go to work was 9 o'clock in the morning. I did. I sat there. 10 o'clock, I was still sitting there. Noon, I was still sitting there. So I went out and got some lunch, thinking maybe that was the answer to the thing. I came back and sat down at the typewriter. I sat there. 5 o'clock was the time I decided to knock off, so I knocked off. I did this for a couple of weeks. And boy, did I have to work then to catch up on my production. Because it just plain hadn't worked out, that's all. Well, I, of course, probably didn't keep at it long enough. No, routine did not have very much to do with it. Whenever we get a set machine schedule and try to put it in against the field of the arts, we're really in trouble. Because arts are creative, and a machine schedule is the very darkest enemy of creation. It's all got to go according to a preordained plan, and it's all going to be routinized and so forth. So, creativeness would include also the creation of time. And a man who is a very busy man and has to get a great many things done is liable to do, if he's in good shape, a tremendous number of things in a span of time which is not the preordained, allowed, regularized, regulated time span. And after he's gotten all these things done, everybody says, where could he possibly have gotten all that time?
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge S.M. Sterling and Illustrators of the Future Judge Laura Fries Baraha.
Elaine Midco from South Florida wrote the story A Trickle in History, where years after the Second Holocaust, the last surviving Jews on Earth attempt to rewrite the past.
Good evening. Very happy to see all of you with us. A Trickle in History was illustrated by Jose Sanchez, also known as Pero Trope from Costa Rica. Please welcome them to the stage.
Wow. This is very, very exciting, super exciting. And the best part is that you are all in the dark, so I don't see you. So this is lovely for me. First off, I must begin by thanking this extremely talented man standing right here, Jose Sanchez. Also goes by Pero Trope. They have a great reveal where the writers go into a room and we get to see all the illustrations. The illustrations were astonishing. They are beautiful. You will love them when you look in the book. They're amazing. And I have to say that when I saw, they have us go around so that we can pick our own and see it. And when I saw his, my knees started shaking. It was true. And I was so surprised. I looked down and said, what are you doing? You know, what's going on here? But it was wonderful. I feel like my story was this big. And with Jose's illustration, it became this big. And I'm so grateful to you. Thank you, Jose. I also want to thank, of course, L. Ron Hubbard, the generosity in creating the contest 39 years ago, already in the 40th season, because that's already begun, and the foresight in setting up funding so that it can continue. It's amazing, 40 years, wonderful and astonishing. Also want to thank the judges, of course, especially all the judges who, here's the word again, generosity, who generously gave of their time this week to share their wisdom and knowledge with us, and also the speakers who were invited, editors from magazines, scientists, and so many others. It was a wonderful, wonderful week. I know that we, the writers, will never forget it. I'm sure the experience was the same for the illustrators. It was beautiful. And I especially want to thank our lead instructors, Jody Lynn Nye and Tim Powers. Also want to mention, of course, coordinating judge Jolie Lynn Nye and Carrie English, who is the first reader. And I guess, Carrie, you're getting help because they've announced that you're getting 3 more. So I guess you get to sleep. But of course, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you picking our stories. So thank you. Thank you so very much. I want to thank the editors, Jody Lynn Nye and Dean Wesley Smith. They did a wonderful job. I know that they helped shape our stories and make our stories better. And I also want to thank, and I don't know their names, but the folks who designed the book. We got it a little bit earlier this week. We were able to see it. For me, it was the first time I saw it. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous as a book. You could use it as a house decoration. It's that beautiful. It's so pretty. And I thank all the folks who did that. Also want to thank everybody at Author Services and Galaxy's Edge. We've met some of them face to face and have thanked them continually during the week. But I also want to thank all the ones who we didn't get to meet, the ones behind the scenes. This has to be a huge operation. And I want all of those who worked on this week to know how very grateful we are, the winners, because you've given us something we will never forget for the rest of our lives. And we're grateful. I want to mention my parents. A Trickle in History is a science fiction story, but it was heavily influenced by my own family's history and by the lessons that my parents taught us. Remember who you are. My dad used to say that whenever we left the house, he would call out, remember who you are. Remember your heritage. And never let those who have hatred and bigotry
define you and how you view yourself. And finally, I want to thank my older brother, David. He's been my best friend for my entire life. He lost out on me for 3 years because he's older, but he's been my best friend for my entire life. He is my first reader, constant cheerleader, occasionally, I guess, nagger, why aren't you writing? And I will say that in volume 37, I had a published finalist story. And here's a secret that's never been told before. The spaceship was named after him. So David, I love you and thank you all.
Good evening, everybody. I really want to say thank you very much to all the people behind the production of this event and the workshop and the contest around Hubbard's Writers of the Future. Also, my gratitude goes to the judges for sharing this crazy amount of knowledge with all of us during this busy week, but really unforgettable. And last but not least, I also want to say thank you very much to Elaine Mitko for providing me with this amazing story, which is really, really inspiring for the work I made in the illustration. So, and thank you all for being so supportive. And yeah, thank you very much.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Tim Powers and Illustrators of the Future Judge Dan Dos Santos.
Arthur H. Manners from Cambridgeshire, England, wrote the dark science fiction story The Withering Sky, featuring a team that surveys a derelict spaceship at the edge of the solar system. Obviously a bad idea from the start. But the question is, can they keep their sanity and stay alive until the next team arrives? God help them.
The illustrator to this story is Shiming Luo from China. Shiming is currently studying digital media design at the University of Pennsylvania and aspires to fulfill her dreams of creating a digital game, illustrating a children's book, and traveling the world. Please congratulate them both.
Whoa. Hello. Well, first of all, thank you all for coming out tonight. It means everything. We're writers, so we're 90% ego. It's a real pleasure to share the evening with you, really. Thanks to L. Ron Hubbard's Writers and Illustrators of the Future for providing this unmatched opportunity for fledgling creators. Thanks to Galaxy Press and Author Services, the judges and instructors, for all their hard work and wisdom. There's a lot of heroes running around behind the scenes to make this possible. Enormous thanks to the story's illustrator, Shiming Luo. It's a privilege of a lifetime to see my story come to life through her work. When she's famous, I'm going to become truly insufferable. Because I'm going to be telling everybody that once upon a time, she took something that existed only in my head and created something as haunting as it is unforgettable. Thanks also to all the other writers and illustrators for making this week so special. I expected to meet some gifted people here, but I've been truly blown away by the breadth of talent and diversity of experience and technique brought together this year. Unending thanks to my partner, Anna, my parents, my brother, and my sister, who have always been unfailing in their encouragement. I'd be lost without any of you. And finally, I'd like to thank all the friends who suffered through the worst of my earlier drafts and gave feedback anyway. You were my first readers, and I'll never forget that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited and honored to be here tonight and to win this amazing award. I would like to start off by thanking my mom and my dad for their support. Without their encouragement, I would not be here tonight. I want to also thank my younger brother, who has inspired me so much and is a delight to be around. Next, I want to thank all the people who made this contest possible. This week has been such a special experience for me. Thank you to all the talented artists and winners I've met this week. I sure have learned a lot. And thank you to Arthur for writing such a brilliant story. It was my pleasure to illustrate it. I am excited to see what lies in store next. After tonight, after my high school graduation, to see what is in store as I begin my college journey, and to see what lies beyond that. I just know that I won't ever stop creating as an artist. As writer Henry David Thoreau once said, "This world is but a canvas to our imagination." I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Thank you all again. 谢谢大家。
Please welcome Writers of the Future judge Nancy Kress and two-time Primetime Emmy nominee and producer-director of the Hollywood Radio Players, actress Lee Purcell.
T.J. Knight from upstate New York is the author of The Fall of Crodendra M, a story which takes us on an adventure. High-powered telescopes have brought the life of the galaxy directly to our televisions, hopefully without ads. And Hank Enos, network tuner, figures that he has seen everything until the day that an alien boy stares back.
The illustrator of this story is Chris Arias from Cartago, Costa Rica. I see he has some fans, huh? A small farming town on the slopes of an extinct volcano, where he gained inspiration for his art walking through the mountains and forests. Please welcome them to the stage.
So I've got a speech that I prepared 12 years ago. Took a while. All right, so first I want to thank L. Ron Hubbard. I'm deeply grateful for his enduring vision to recognize and promote emerging writers, myself at last, humbly included. Folks at Galaxy Press and ASI for their generous hospitality. My illustrious artist, Chris Arias, muchas gracias, mi amigo. Next, I'd like to thank everyone who has ever critiqued any one of my stories. You know who you are. I know who you are. I appreciate every one of you. To the old guard, Jennifer, Frank, Dr. Bob, and Carrie. The folks on the forums, both prime and future finalists. James Davies, who's critiquing my entire novel. Thank you. Anna X and Becky, my splinter group, Rob, Nicole, Julia, and Morgan. You all rock. 2 of 5 now. Let's make it a sweep. My mom, of course, raised 2 kids on her own, she did. Tonight, I'm the good son. My beautiful wife, Kale, going, buy her books. My awesome kids, Ashton and Mackenzie, you inspire me more than you know. And finally, Katie Wentworth for my first finalist. See, I'm losing it now. Katie Wentworth for my first finalist, Dave Wolverton for my second, and Jodie Lynn Nye for my third. In conclusion, I hope you like my story. See you at the signing.
Good evening. First of all, I want to say thank you to Mr. L. Ron Hubbard for creating this contest. I want to say thank you also to all the people in Galaxy Press and Author Services. Thank you to Johnny to encourage me keep entering the contest. Thank you to all the judges for sharing all these new tools with all of us. And for my family and friends in Costa Rica, muchas gracias. Los amo a todos. Gracias por apoyarme siempre y acompañarme en este camino. Muchas gracias a todos.
To present the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award, please welcome Vice President Public Affairs, Author Services Incorporated, Ms. Emily Goodwin.
We bestow the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award to individuals for their outstanding contributions to writing and art. In the past, we have presented it to luminaries and masters, Jack Williamson, Frederick Pohl, Algis Budrys, Frank Frazetta, Anne McCaffrey, Frank Kelly Fries, Robert Silverberg, Larry Niven and Jerry Purnell, Charles Brown, Dr. Gregory Benford, Tom Doherty, Orson Scott Card, Mike Resnick, Larry Elmore, and Bob Eggleton. This year, we are presenting the award to an exceptional individual, a fellow Canadian, of course, Dr. Robert J. Sawyer. As a novice writer, he entered the contest only to pro out with what now adds up to 20 best-selling novels. He is one of only 8 writers to win all 3 of the world's top awards for Best Science Fiction Novel of the Year: the Nebula, the Hugo, and the John W. Campbell Memorial Awards. This year's recipient is also an inductee to the Canadian Science Fiction and Fantasy Hall of Fame, the first ever recipient of the Mississauga Arts Council Lifetime Achievement Award, a recipient of the Ryerson University Alumni Award of Distinction, and the youngest author to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Canadian Science Fiction and Fantasy Association. He has won the Robert A. Heinlein Award, the Edward E. Smith Memorial Award, the Hal Clement Award, the Audie Award, top SF awards in France, China, Japan, and Spain, and a record-setting 16 Auroras, the Canadian Science Fiction and Fantasy Awards. He is a member of the Order of Canada, the highest honor bestowed by the Canadian government, and the Order of Ontario, the highest honor given by his home province. He holds 2 honorary doctorates has taught science fiction writing in colleges and universities, and has been a guest, Toastmaster, and guest of honor at over 100 conventions. He has been a Writers of the Future judge since 2005 and has tirelessly shared his hard-won experience with aspiring writers, promoting the contest and its purpose wherever and whenever possible. The Canadian publishing trade journal Quill and Quire calls him one of the 30 most influential, innovative, and just plain powerful people in Canadian publishing. We call him an extraordinary human being, a close friend, and a cornerstone in the Writers of the Future family. Need I say more? For 18 years of dedicated service to discover new talent, it is now my greatest honor and privilege to bestow the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award to Dr. Robert J. Sawyer.
Thank you all so very much. Although I entered this contest when I was starting out, I've only ever been on the stage here at the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers and Illustrators of the Future Gala as a presenter, never an award recipient. I am thrilled to have finally made it. I thank John, Emily, Joni, Gunhild, and everyone else at Author Services from the bottom of my heart, which is beating awfully fast right now. And I thank my lovely wife, Carolyn Klink, who has been as much a part of the Writers of the Future family these past 2 decades as I have. Now, for those wondering when one gets a Lifetime Achievement Award, that is, at what age your career is considered over, here's the answer: 62. Tomorrow, you see, is my 63rd birthday. Clearly, you're done achieving when you hit that magic number. But in that career, one of the things I'm proudest of is being a judge for Writers of the Future. When John asked me to become a judge 18 years ago, I thought, me? Getting to be part of the incredible group of writers who already were judges? Yes, please. And when John and Emily called recently to say I was getting the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award, I was blown away. My name being added to the amazing list of past recipients? Wow. And yet, there's an irony in me getting this award, because looking back on my career, I did just about everything wrong. At least, that is, according to conventional wisdom. Many writers do media tie-ins or work in other people's universes. My first agent tried to steer me in that direction too, getting me a 3-book contract in the Star Wars universe. But I bailed out. I just couldn't bring myself to play in somebody else's sandbox. And then I screwed up again. My second novel was called Farseer, and at its end, I gave the protagonist, a talking dinosaur named Afsen, a heroic death scene. Well, when I sent the manuscript to my agent, he said I was nuts for killing the main character. Rob, baby, he said. That's how agents talk. Rob, baby, this could be an ongoing series. And if not a cash cow, then certainly a monetary megalosaurus. So Afsen got a reprieve, and I forced out 2 more books about the lovable lizard. But as before, I just couldn't stand it. At the end of the 3rd book, I took the same escape route Charlton Heston did from the Planet of the Apes sequels. I destroyed the entire planet. Flash forward, if I'm allowed to use that word, a decade, and I was lucky enough to win the Hugo Award for my novel, Hominids. Right after the ceremony, my editor, David Hartwell, said, "You know, Rob, you can have a fine career just continuing to write Neanderthal novels for us." Sound financial advice. But yet again, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I didn't ever want to have a continuing series. The late, great Mike Resnick, another Writers of the Future judge, was shocked to discover how few novels I've written, a mere 24 in a career that's now spanned a third of a century. Mike was a writer in the mold of L. Ron Hubbard, lightning fast and never missing a deadline. And until a decade ago, I'd never missed one either. But then my younger brother, Alan, died. I was devastated. So my editor said, "Don't worry about your deadline. Take as long as you like." Well, I did, and I loved it. I now spend a couple of years writing each novel. Financially, that's ridiculous. But for me, it's heaven. And I truly believe it produces better books. So yeah, my bibliography isn't as lengthy as that of many writers my age. And there's no series or character or even type of book I've known for. I like to leave readers scratching their heads wondering how the guy who wrote High Adventure with talking dinosaurs and Farseer, and recondite cosmology and Starplex, and courtroom drama and Illegal Alien, and a melancholy romance like Rollback could possibly be the same person. In a world obsessed with author branding, I deliberately don't have one. John Scalzi once said this about me: "Cracking open a Robert J. Sawyer book is like getting a gift from a friend who visits all the strange and undiscovered places in the world. You can't wait to see what he's going to amaze you with this time." That was John's kind way of saying, who the heck knows what Sawyer is trying to pull now? And that's precisely what I want people to wonder. Of course, I don't say your goal shouldn't be to make millions, or sell the maximum number of copies, or have a brand that precisely defines what you're going to deliver every time. You can make an excellent living doing precisely that. But it was never what I wanted. And some of you who are taking home trophies tonight in this, the most prestigious science fiction and fantasy writing competition in the world, might just possibly think about following in my flat-footed, stumbling footsteps. Because the world has changed since Asimov, Clarke, Heinlein, and Hubbard defined our field. We're at the dawn of a new era. No, I'm not using that trendy term Anthropocene because, well, that period is over. The cyber scene is upon us now. With artificial intelligence able to produce flawless pastiches of any writer who is a brand, is there really a future for the predictable, reliable wordsmith? So as you winners tonight embark on your own careers, maybe not having a brand, not being pigeonholed, not being easily imitated might be the right way to go. What John Scalzi said about the kind of books I write is like what Forrest Gump's mother told him. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Perhaps you should consider being a box of chocolates too. You may not get rich, and you may not have the biggest audience, but you might just survive this AI revolution. And maybe a few decades down the road, you'll be back on this stage again, taking home a trophy just like this wonderful one, the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award, an honor that means the world, heck, the galaxy to me. Thank you so, so much. And as we say up in Canada, live long and prosper, eh? Thank you.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Nina Kariki Hoffman and Illustrators of the Future Judge Val Lakey Lindon.
Spencer Seculin from Ontario, Canada, wrote the story The Children of Desolation, about how a man determined to save his wife takes an unlikely client through South Africa's ruins to the heart of the desolation, a journey that will cost or save everything.
Hi. The illustrator for The Children of Desolation is Alexandra Albu, also known as Siberian. She is from Romania and loves to bring characters and stories to life. She could not be with us here this year, but will attend the next event to receive her award. Please welcome Spencer to the stage.
Thank you all so very, very much. I want to start by thanking Mr. L. Ron Hubbard, who graciously left this wonderful legacy for future generations. It's a gift of tremendous value, and I'm grateful that we can all be here tonight in celebration and remembrance. I want to thank everyone at Offer Services, at Galaxy Press, everyone who's part of this wonderful competition. Jody, Carrie, Tim, Maliva, John, Joni, Dean, Rob, everyone else, all the people working magic behind the scenes. Thank you so much. I want to thank my parents, Mom, Dad, for infecting me with a love for books. Without you, I wouldn't be the reader I am today, and as a consequence, not the writer I have become. I want to thank every writer who has inspired me over the years with their books, especially Owen Colfer, Terry Brooks, Brent Weeks, Brian McClellan, Brandon Sanderson, and David Farland, among many, many others. I want to thank everyone who's ever read anything I've ever written. That's tough sometimes. And especially Rebecca Treasure, who critiqued my winning story and helped me make it better. And last, but certainly not least, I want to thank Miss Alexandra Albu, who created such a beautiful piece of art for my story. I know she can't be here tonight, but Alexandra, if you're watching this, thank you very much and congratulations as well. I want to end with a quick quote by James Allen. "The dreamers are the saviors of the world. As the visible world is sustained by the invisible, so people, through all their trials and sins and sordid vocations, are nourished by the beautiful visions of their solitary dreamers. Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their ideals fade and die. It knows them as the realities it shall one day see and know. The world is beautiful because they have lived, and without them, laboring humanity would perish. So, to all of you writers, and to all of you illustrators, to all of you dreamers, thank you for doing what you do." Thank you.
Please welcome Illustrators of the Future judges Lazarus Chernick and Brian C. Hales.
L.H. Davis is a winner that resides on Florida's Space Coast who wrote the story Timelines and Bloodlines. When a terrorist smuggles a nuclear weapon into London, a team regresses in time to 1093 CE to assassinate a knight on the battlefield, thereby eliminating the terrorist a millennium before his birth.
The illustrator for this story is Clarence Bateman, originally from Jamaica and currently residing in New York. He has come a long way from his youth, and when he would twist his family members' arm to buy his homemade Christmas cards. I don't know what that's about. Neither L.H. Davis or Clarence Bateman could be with us tonight, but we are watching online, so here they are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Clarence Bateman, originally from Jamaica, West Indies. I now live in New York, in the Bronx, and I just want to say it's fantastic for me to be selected as one of the winners in this prestigious contest that's been put on by L. Ron Hubbard and Galaxy Press. I think it's fantastic that they came together so that artists all across the world would get a chance to showcase their work in this fantastic book. Because, you know, being an unknown artist, it's really hard to get your work out there, being printed for art directors or studios or anyone else to see the kind of work that you can produce and actually give you a chance to get paid work. It's really difficult for artists. So this is a really fantastic opportunity, and I'm honored to be in this book. And I'd like all of you guys to know that I saw the book before all of you. It's right here. All right. So just so you guys know.
Please welcome Writers of the Future first reader, Carrie English, and Illustrators of the Future judge, Sergei Poyarkov.
Samuel Parr from the United Kingdom is a first-place winner with his story, The Last History, where the grand exam is a gateway to power for one, likely death for all others. Its entrants include ambitious nobles, desperate peasants, and quiet gate, an old woman with nothing to lose.
The illustrators of the story, Dao Vi, currently resides in Los Angeles. He was born in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. He recently graduated from the Art College of Design, and his goal to work as a concept artist for films and games. Please welcome to the stage these guys.
Thank you all, and so lovely to be here with you all tonight. 2022 was a bit of a landmark year for me. I got married. After years of submitting, I won Writers of the Future. And I also found it to be one of the toughest years of my life. At the end of 2021, the chronic pain that I had suffered with for a few years, but it wasn't too bad, picked up in intensity. And from then on, despite doctors' best efforts, I found myself constantly in pain. I couldn't sit comfortably, I couldn't laugh comfortably, I couldn't sleep comfortably. And so I found the late nights of my 20s to be ones where I was lying awake, bewildered, confused, asking questions. Why was this happening to me? What could I do to fix it? How could I go on? Now, whilst I am British and therefore do love a good moan, don't worry. This isn't going to just be me complaining, because goodness knows we all go through difficult times, and you've heard many of them already tonight. Instead, I want to speak of gratitude, because like Devin mentioned and Marianne mentioned, I'm sure it's happened for many of you, in those sleepless nights, those difficult times, a solace I turned to and found wisdom in was speculative fiction. It, first of all, provided escapism. It was really fun. But it was more than that. It felt true to me, inspired to me, even though it was make-believe. I think because I felt like those fantastical creatures. I felt like when I was perhaps waking up, I was a little bit like Frodo climbing Mount Doom.
And I also felt that if these characters, if these authors could have such imagination to dream of these fantastical words, to dream of the stars, maybe I could dream of hope. And with that all in mind, a few thanks are in order to the genre that has gifted me so much. First of all, to my wonderful fellow writers, whose stories were amongst those that I turned to in those deep nights, and which were fantastic, but because they were so good, were terrible for helping me sleep. It's such an honor to be with you all for this past week. Similarly to the illustrators, it has been incredible to see you make our hallucinations real. And in particular to the magnificent Dal, whose picture was so good that it literally filtered into my dreams these past 2 nights. I know Dal has got a whole table with him tonight, and I'm sure they must be incredibly proud of what he's done. More widely, to L. Ron Hubbard, whose legacy of generosity has survived 40 years and given us and this genre so much. To Jody, to Tim, and all the other excellent judges for giving us a week where they have shared their wisdom, their energy, and their disagreements, and I found it absolutely incredible. To all the people at Galaxy Press and Author Services who have made this week one of the best ones of my life, it has been an absolute pleasure to get to know all of you. I know there's many of you who've been working behind the scenes as well, and just thank you so much for everything that you've done. Finally, more widely, to my family, to my mum, my dad, Joe, and Helen, for building a foundation of love, empathy, and hope from which I write from. To all my writing friends, particularly Andy and Joe, for sticking with me through these years. And finally, to Kat, my wife, who helps me see the magic in the world. It's been a real pleasure to take that journey with them over the past few years and come to where I am now. And it's been a pleasure to chat to all of you tonight as fellow lovers of sci-fi and fantasy. As I said before, we all go through difficult times. We all at times in our life have questions asking, how can we go on? But I hope through the stories that we love, we find at least in part an answer. Thank you.
Wow, what a blessing it is to be here with you all tonight. I would like to start off my story by praising God for all of the things that He has blessed me with. Before I truly found my passion in art and walking into this new chapter of speaking my voice through drawing and paintings, I was dealt greatly with many doubts and uncertainties. The fear of venturing into the unknown and not knowing what to do with my future started becoming a huge boulder, pushing me down as I tried to move forward. It wasn't until the start of the pandemic and through the inevitable isolations where I truly began building an intimate relationship with God, who has not only helped reignite my love for art, but also bringing me endless peace and comfort, knowing that all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. I would now like to give my thanks and gratitude to L. Ron Hubbard, to all the amazing people that are involved in making this event possible, to all the staffs and the judges. I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be with you all this past week. Thank you to Joni for being an amazing person that you are, for always looking after me and making sure I was up to date with my schedule and everything that was happening. You are loved. Thank you to Maliva and Echo for being such amazing helpers and being patient with me throughout the month of creating the illustration book cover. Thank you to Carmen for blasting my faith throughout all media throughout the past few months. To my fellow illustrators, you guys are all amazing and talented artists, and I am beyond excited to see what the future has in store for each and every one of you. To my incredibly gifted writer, the better half of this segment, Samuel Parr, I am honored to have been given the chance to illustrate your beautifully crafted story, and please know that this piece of illustration could not have been possible without your amazing storytelling. And last but not least, to my family, relatives who are here with me tonight, I deeply thank you for your support. To my parents, my mom and my dad, who have sacrificed so much for me and my siblings and for their continual prayers upon our future. Con cảm ơn ba mẹ. Thank you so much.
to introduce the Writers and Illustrators of the Future Golden Pen and Golden Brush Awards for Volume 39, please welcome Contest Director, Ms. Joni Labaki.
Thank you. I have the greatest job on earth. Yes. In alignment with and in forwarding Mr. Hubbard's vision, I get to channel and help aspiring writers and artists by giving them encouragement to persist and so make their dreams come true. And nothing, absolutely nothing, compares to the joy of telling 24 winners every year, you have won. And now they're all here in this culmination of their aspirations. Winning one of the quarterly prizes in the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest is a tremendous achievement. However, each year our judges review the prize-winning entries and bestow the highest honor, the Golden Brush Award for Grand Prize Illustrator and the Golden Pen Award for Grand Prize Writer. Besides their impressive trophy, their publication in the anthologies, and the master-level workshops that they've attended, each of our grand prize winners will be awarded a bonus prize of $5,000. So now, to present the Illustrators of the Future grand prize winner for Volume 39, please welcome the Illustrators of the Future coordinating judge, Echo Chernick, and Mr. Dan Farr.
This is my favorite part. And the moment we've been waiting for. This is where we honor a single grand prize winner for the prestigious Golden Brush Award. As is the case every year, there are so many extremely talented artists in this volume, and I have enjoyed personally working with each and every one of them. While it was a challenge for myself and the other judges to select the winning piece, each one of you is a winner, and I know you have what it takes to move on to successful careers. Of course, the judges did pick one to take home the highest honor of the night.
The Volume 39 Illustrator of the Future Golden Brush Award, with its beautiful trophy and prize check of $5,000, goes to the illustrator of
I hope you have the envelope. The Last History,
Dalvi.
Oh man. Hello again. I feel like I have a bit of a deja vu. It's like it's just been here a couple minutes ago. I wish I could just reset everybody's brain here and just reuse that speech I did earlier. So I did not prepare for this. Yeah, I just think it's just been such a blessing and a huge joy, just not this past week, but since the very beginning where I received the call from Joni for the very first time, announcing that I was one of the winners, and just going into, working with Echo and Maliva on the book cover illustrations, all the way to just being able to be with everybody this past week, especially to the illustrators who I wish you could all be up here with me receiving this award together, because you are all amazing and incredibly talented, and I am humbled and just honored to be by your side this past week and just getting to know you. And once again, to my awesome, amazing writer, Samuel Parr. Again, I've said this before and I will say this again. This right here could not have been possible without The Last History. So Sam, this is to you. Thank you so much.
to present the Writers of the Future Volume 39 Golden Pen Award, please welcome the Writers of the Future Coordinating Judge, Jody Lynn Nye, and the voice of Todd Flanders, Chucky Finster, and dozens more, Ms. Nancy Cartwright.
This is my second year as the coordinating judge for the Writers of the Future contest, for the first time having chosen the stories that were sent to my fellow judges. These are my kids, and I'm very proud of them. I'm delighted to have found such wonderful tales across so many genres and different points of view. As I said last year, I want to carry on in the honored tradition founded by my predecessors and continue to fulfill the vision that L. Ron Hubbard had for the contest, to discover and nurture talent of speculative fiction and so uplift our culture through great writing and art. The up-and-coming writers who have been collected in this volume have a great future in our field, but one, as chosen by our distinguished judges, stands above the others. I am proud to present the Volume 39 Golden Pen Award winner.
I heard the competition was extremely tight this year, but a winner must be chosen. Let's find out who our winner is. You guys ready? Okay. The author of White Elephant, David K. Hendrickson.
Wow. I really am going to have to rewrite this one too. When John was prepping us for this ceremony, he predicted at some point in their speech, the grand prize winner would say that they did not believe they were going to win this award. Well, he was right, because I didn't believe I was going to win this award. And that was for a very good reason. Devin's story is full of passion and pain. Marina's story is whimsical magic. And Sam's story was wildly evocative. All of them could be standing up here now. For all of us, life is a twisting path with milestones to mark the way. For me, and for most of the writers I think are in this room, one of those milestones was when we read something at a young age. In my case, it was Stargard by Andre Norton, and had the thought that maybe one day I could be a writer too. Tonight is another milestone for the winners of this year's contest. From all of us, we thank you. I would also like to say that not only has it been a blast, but you, if you're not one of the writers, you can't really understand how much this means. Not just the money, not just the recognition, but the amount of information, encouragement, life wisdom that we've gotten over this last week is truly without value. I am just full of gratitude for the effort these people have gone to help us along. And I truly hope that one day that I and my colleagues will be able to do the same thing for other people. On one personal note, and it's kind of an odd bit of history, is that I know that 40 years ago, Dean Smith was the first person to walk across the stage. It turns out that a couple of years before that, he and I, along with Nina Hoffman, actually attended the Writers' Conference in Lansing, Michigan. Obviously, they went on to be fantastic authors. life had other plans for me. But life is what happens when you're making plans. And so hopefully that I can continue on and justify people's faith in me. Thank you very much.
This concludes the 2023 L. Ron Hubbard Achievement Awards. And in closing, my message to all artists everywhere is to never forget that you are magicians. It is you who transport the reader or the viewer to far lands and far times and other universes. Lands and times and universes that might not even exist yet. It is through your imagination and postulated realities that we are able to change the world or build a new one. And with that, I leave you with these words from L. Ron Hubbard. The artist is looked upon to start things. The artist injects the spirit of life into a culture. And through his creative endeavors, the writer works continually to give tomorrow a new form. Please join us now in the beautiful Taglian complex to further honor the winners, as well as our esteemed judges. And do not miss your chance to ask our winners for their autographs as published professionals. From all of us at Author Services and Galaxy Press, congratulations to all the winners, and thank you all for being with us tonight. See you next year at the 40th anniversary of the Writers of the Future contest. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.